Good morning. Yes, I'm happy to see the faces that I know, and we are glad that we are here together to have a conversation on investment. So we are going to have our initial addresses, and therefore I just want to introduce that our first speaker is going to be Mrs. Monica Ogutu, who is the CEO at Kimet. And then our second speaker will be Mrs. Emily Nyaribo, representing the Lreb First Ladies Association. So that is how we are going to flow. So allow me, ladies and gentlemen, that I invite Mrs. Monica Ogutu to come and speak to us. Welcome. Let's put our hands together. Thank you.
To His Excellency, the Governor, and the Nurturing Care for Early Childhood Champion, our champion number one in Lreb, the CEO Lreb, the First Ladies present, my friends, all the executive members, all the chief officers present, the directors, Lreb Secretariat, all the partners and delegates. Good morning. God is good, and all the time. It's a real and truly a pleasure and an honor to stand before you at this important side event. As it has been said, this is our first side event at the Devolution Conference to talk about our children. I want to begin by sincerely thanking the coordinators of this event, plus Lreb as the convener, that allowed us as partners to come together. For the first time in Lreb, and we are very proud of this, that as partners, we have been journeying together. We said in Lreb, there is no silo work. We come together and implement. Your presence here as partners and all the dignitaries speak volumes. It tells me that we share not only a vision, but also a commitment to our region's future, because we need to invest in our future, and those are the children. We know that the future begins at every start of life. And most of the times, that is the most important early stage of human development, the early childhood development. By being here today, you are affirming that every child deserves the best start possible. And the future of our children, indeed, is in our hands. And we can confirm that. To begin with, nurturing care for early childhood development that we have dubbed in Lreb, the Smart Start Initiative, addresses the critical stage in human life. Young children, their health development depends on nurturing them. And that ensures good health, adequate nutrition, responsive caregiving, safety, and security, and early learning. These key elements are cross-cutting. Engaging all county departments. This is also the first intervention that we are coming together as a multi-sectoral team. From evidence, mothers and children die from preventable causes. We all know that these causes can be prevented. If a mother dies today and has delivered in Lreb, in this county, in any county of Lreb, we know that the development of that child that she has just delivered is compromised. Integrated interventions are therefore key in closing the gaps that we have had in Lreb, ensuring that every child can achieve their full potential. As mother's health before, during, and after pregnancy directly affects a child's survival, brain development, and long-term well-being, therefore strengthening maternal health care system in Lreb and at the national level through timely treatment, skilled birth attendance, prevention of infections, and improved nutrition is essential. As I always emphasize, being a health care provider, we know that when there is any complication at birth, that child's life is compromised. There are so many causes of maternal deaths, and they are all preventable. There are 5 major causes for those who don't know, and they are all preventable. The first one is bleeding after delivery. And as partners here, we know that we can do something. And we are also advocating for using innovative approaches. It's no longer business as usual. We have to think innovatively to save both mothers and children and reduce these unnecessary deaths. So from postpartum hemorrhage, which is the #1 killer, we have the hypertensive diseases in pregnancy. And this can be identified early during antenatal visit and managed. Then we have sepsis, infection, and that is manageable. We also have obstructed labor, that if we have functional theaters, we can have timely cesarean section and save both the mother and the baby. Lastly, the silent killer, the unsafe abortion. And with the high teen pregnancy in Lreb region and nationally, we need to do something to save this life. And the leading causes of newborn and children are also preventable through implementations that we all know, and they are very cost-effective and evidence-based. And we can do this through integrated interventions. In Lreb counties, the 14 counties of Lreb, the leading causes of newborn deaths are documented, and we know them. First is the prematurity. Are all our maternity units having a functional newborn unit? That if a mother delivers, you are able to manage that child that has complication or is premature. Where are our pediatricians? Do we have them in every hospital or at the referral facility where they can be able to manage our premature babies? And prematurity causes up to 47% of newborn deaths. The second one is what we call birth asphyxia. That is failure to breathe properly. The baby might be born, but is having difficulty in breathing. Are we able to resuscitate these babies and make sure that we save their lives? And asphyxia causes up to 44% of the newborn deaths. Sorry for that. The next is the infection, sepsis. And that is why it is critical that we have multi-sectoral approach. In some of our facilities, we don't have water. And if water is there, it's not continuously flowing. And we need water for, clean deliveries. Sepsis contributes up to 9% of the newborn deaths. KIMET, in partnership with the county governments and the Lreb Secretariat that is driving this Smart Start initiative, has been implementing nurturing care for early childhood development program since 2018. We started piloting this model in Siaya. And once more, I really want to thank the leadership of Siaya County government, because once we had a proof of concept that this is actually worth investing in, we were able to scale it up through a phased approach. We have been able now to move to 11 counties of Lreb region. My technology is failing me. So this scale-up has been guided by a situation analysis. As I mentioned earlier, it is anchored on evidence. So we did a situation analysis in collaboration with other partners in 2019. And this was conducted in the region, in Lreb region, to determine the extent of adoption of each county. And a mid-level assessment has also been conducted this year and we are going to disseminate the results. And it's so encouraging on the improvements that have been there. This might inform our first publication. The counties are already having their own best practices that we might borrow and scale up in the other regions of this nation. The Lreb counties have been able to commit within their CIDPs aspects of nurturing care that, if implemented, will change the trajectory. And all this is in the Lreb nurturing care for early childhood development policy brief that will be shared. The implementation of nurturing care should be county-led for any sustainable model. And we have seen this working here in Lreb. It is Lreb-driven, but county-led. Partners are only facilitating. We have to learn to ensure that we have sustainable models. And this Smart Start initiative is one of its own. And it has to be county-led, and it is within the multi-sectoral lens. It is not a health issue, it's not an education issue, it cuts across all the sectors: education, health, agriculture, water, land, trade, name it, everybody. And this also ensures that the matters to quality and affordable health care and ensuring that nutrition and security aspects are also addressed in the program. Further to the components of responsive caregiving, safety and security, early learning are well within the environmental conservation and clean water provision, of quality education and training, construction of modern physical infrastructure, as we have seen in most of our counties. We also are aiming at resource mobilization at the local level. And I'm happy to see some of our corporate partners, the banks, that we are also onboarding to ensure that we are able to mobilize our resources locally to invest in our children, to ensure that they survive and thrive. Most of our children are only surviving, but we need to ensure they survive, thrive to their full potential. We need policies and regulations that bind all these actions to make sure that we also provide structures for implementation. Both at the national and county levels, the following recommendations will guide a more sustainable approach to the implementation of nurturing care for early childhood development. 1, creating platforms that enhance co-creation and co-designing with the counties. It is no longer a push system, the way partners used to go to a county and they push an intervention. This is all about pull approach, because we need to budget and anchor it in the policies and make sure that it's coordinated through the county leadership. 2 is embracing collaborative partnership, mapping and working with all like-minded partners, as we have seen in this room. There is no more silo work. There is no one partner. Even if you have billions of money, you cannot do it alone. We need the researchers, we need the program team, we need the academia, we need all these people to come together so that we can tell our story to the world, that when partners come together through a collaborative partnership, we can achieve more. 3 is to strengthen the multi-sectoral approach and coordination. Lreb has a model that even other regions are asking us, Monica, how did you do it in Lreb? And I'm so proud to say that we did nothing. They actually adopted it and ran with it. We have seen other blocks and other countries coming to benchmark in Siaya. Thank you very much, because we even had the Mozambique team coming to Siaya. So there's a lot to learn from this model. And sometimes I think what we have not been doing right is to shout and document. We need to shout when the model is working. It has been adopted by other counties. 3 is to ensure that we continuously strengthen the capacity of the technical team, but also the leadership, the CCMs, the chief officers, the directors from all the sectors to increase knowledge and adoption and continue scaling it up. Then the next one is prioritization through better planning. We need to plan smartly, budget allocation, and policy implementation at all levels. There's one thing having a policy, and there's something in implementation. In the nurturing care for early childhood development, we have seen policies being fully implemented. The latest one is the Ramka Siaya. Siaya was the first county to have the Ramka policy. And we are also very proud because other counties are now adopting that. The other most important recommendation is working with the first ladies as champions and the voices of the community members to strengthen grassroots and level engagement for increased uptake of behavior change. And also onboarding all the religious leaders, because we can do it together and we need to synergize. As an organization, as KIMET, nothing stops us from supporting the ongoing initiatives and amplifying through available forums like this. We will continue working together as partners in the room and beyond and pick up the best practices for learning, replication, to ensure the sustainability of our interventions like the Smart Start initiative. Thank you very much, and may God bless you all.
Thank you very much. Our hands together as we applause. Thank you, the CEO KIMET, Mrs. Monica Ogutu. We've heard that this investment is Lreb led, Lreb driven, county led, as partners facilitate together. Thank you very much. So as Mrs. Ogutu was going on, we had the pleasure of having Charlene Ruto. Feel most welcome. That's the first speaker. Thank you. So I want to take and invite Professor Kodia, the National ECD Faith Leaders Advisory Council, for a speech. Professor, welcome.
You have started as well, and you have given me a very humble time to do my things other than following your track, because you have done it from professional perspective. I'd been in the academics for so many years, and when I get opportunity like this, I want to shun away from the academic angle. So I want to look at this topic from the lens of faith, from the lens of social action, from the lens of practical engagement. Talking about ECD, it pricks me if it becomes a secondary issue in our life. As a bishop, sometimes I go to church. Or not sometimes, I always go to church. Because if I say sometimes, you may be asking me to account for the other times. Children are there. And immediately I come, children are whisked away. The belief is some of them are going to make noise. And when Bishop is around, there should not be any noise. I always insist that all children must be brought in front of me and seated before adults sit. That is one of my policies. Our Lord said, "Let the children come to me, because the kingdom of God belongs to them." For the people who had been so much elevated by our Lord Jesus Christ, it requires our strategic thinking, our strategic resolve to ensure that these people are well nurtured, are well taken care of. I think this thing is going to pay me. I know what I'd written, so I don't have to. I'll pass on the paper to you. So allow me to say what I'd written from my heart, not from my head. Children, when they are born not only to the family, but they are also born to the community and to the entire nation. That means the life of a child must be protected by both the family and the external community. We are all involved in the life of a child. When I was born, my mother and my father, they told me the story that they were taking me to Luak Hospital. Luak is in Asembo. But on the way, I insisted that I'm not going to hospital. I have to be dropped here. So I was born by the roadside. And I want to claim that piece of land, because where you are born, that's where you belong. So when I was delivered, I could not cry. It was as if I was dead. They did not know what to do with me. Then there was a woman who was observing from a distance what was happening. When she came, she realized that something was still missing. She came with a pail and a stone and started hitting. And tong, tong, tong. And then I woke up. When I woke up to cry, I'm still crying up to now. Now I'm crying for others, not for myself. Crying for justice. If you look at that program well, you will realize that this, our topic, is linked to social justice. We cannot talk about nurturing care for our children without bringing the aspect of justice to the child. How do we bring justice to the child? It starts with the family, at the family level. The husband, once you have realized that your wife is pregnant, that's the very moment you start take responsibility. How is the baby? You must be asking that questions every other time. Whenever the wife comes back, ask, how is our baby? You must be touching that and singing for the baby throughout. The child psychologically will start developing, appreciating nature, appreciating environment, knowing that where I am heading to, there is love. But if you are in the spirit of quarreling with the wife throughout, how comes that you are throwing up? You don't understand. You are the one to take responsibility of your wife as well as your unborn baby by showing love, true love. All the time you are touching, the child will grow believing that there is someone outside my mother who is caring. That's where the care begins. Bwana asifiwe. Don't wait until the child is born. It's when you want to start taking responsibility. You start from here. Now, we go to another level. I say that my address is focusing on justice. We go to another level. Now you take the mother will be going into the clinic. How do you take care of that clinic expenses. This is where I have a problem with our health institutions. And because the decision makers, you are all here, I want to make it very clear that no woman should be punished for being pregnant by given hefty charges for maternal care. There are so many hospitals we have in this country, hospitals which have become centers of corruption, they have commercialized health services so much that sometimes even if you are on the verge of death, you cannot even afford, you cannot even think of going to certain hospitals, even if they are the closest to you. And yet what we know is that hospitals are not supposed to be profit-making. But if you look at how they charge people for maternal care, even for postnatal care, it's as if the world is coming to an end. Reaping, taking advantage. I want to tell you this as an academician. What you do to a child when a child is young, still small, still vulnerable, that child will live with that scar forever. The very moment you start arguing with the mother of how to pay the amount for cesarean birth, which was not actually necessary, this is one way of reaping from the vulnerable. Once you do that, you are introducing a child into a world of corruption, into a world of need, into a world of misery, because as you fight with the mother over the fee to be charged, the child is consuming all that frustrations the mother has. Are you getting me? Please, you are educated enough to understand this. The child is consuming the stress the parents have when they have to deal with the high cost of medical expenses. The child is consuming all those things. So when the child looks at the father or the mother, the child sees some anger, some frustrations, and the child calls back. I told you that I want to approach this from a very practical dimension. So what are we doing as the faith-based initiative? One of our roles is to encourage fathers. I know majority who are here, most of them are fathers as well. To encourage fathers to be primary caretakers or caregivers to the children. Taking care of small babies in African culture is becoming a women issue. But the day you are manufacturing the child, you are really happy. You must as well be happy taking care of the child. Are we together? Men who are here, able to raise up your hands. Are we doing that? Good. If you are doing that, that's good. But in most cases, men sleep out. The child is making a lot of noise, so they go out. They create a situation whereby they are not available. May I tell you something which is happening even in the West? Men also take leave to support their spouses. And one of the recommendations we are giving, which is in my speech, is that men should be given at least 1 month paternity leave. Compulsory. So that they also help their wives taking care of the child. When my daughter was born, my wife used to take care. Then the way the child was crying, my wife would just say, "Daddy, you also take her." And I will take. And I thought of the song I used to sing when we were still young. Nyandolo, nindotere, nyandolo, nindotere. Eventually, pole, the child goes to sleep. Then my wife discovered that I had a rare gift that she did not have. So I was now the babysitter. Sit your baby. That's one way of taking care. And as you bond with the child, you will learn more about the child. There are certain things the child may develop in the course of growth that may look unfamiliar, and you may detect that the child is sick or the child. Men rarely detect when their children are sick. To them, it's just okay. When you see the child is playing excessively, you say, oh, this is just like me. The child is sick. Mother will tell you, no, this is not normal. So we must appreciate our role. One of the great things we do is to encourage our fathers to be more responsible as primary caregivers to the children, not secondary, primary. And another thing that we do is to engage other agencies which are dealing with ECD, so that we all come up with a policy that can, a workable policy that can help enhance the quality of life of our children. Another thing that we do, we want to encourage people to help our young people also to appreciate life. So we have a three-pronged dimensional approach. One is spiritual. When the child is introduced to spiritual life at the early stage, that child will learn to appreciate God. Praying with the child, knowing that before I go to bed, there are certain things that my parents say. We don't just leave them like that. We bring them on board. That's one of the things that we do. So as I finish, I'm seeing Tobias looking at me. You know I'm a bishop. Yes. These are some of the things we were recommending to you. One, that the national and county governments should increase resources allocation to support early childhood development and education initiatives. Two, that fathers be granted a 1 month paternity leave with the encouragement that they will stay at home, not be found somewhere else. And there should be a timetable for that, actually. Hakuna mchezo hapa. Third one, that there will be free maternity and postnatal services up to year 3 in all public medical facilities. 4, that there be a legislation to regulate charges levied by hospitals on the above services, on maternity services. And 5, that there be a stiffer penalty to all children offenders. Sometimes you find, we hear very horrific cases of abuses. An old man like myself, I rape a 2-year-old child. Surely speaking, what is this demonic thing invading our society? Things which are not cultured in any way. So, stiffer penalties should be encouraged. And again, the last but not least, that the government to work out with the interfaith ECD and come up with policies that would help poor children from poor families to get what we call food for health. No child should die because of malnutrition. No child at whatever level should be exposed to suffering because of anger. In Kenya, we have what it takes. Kenya is one of the richest countries in Africa. And one of the things we must deal with is wastage of resources. And we must punish those who are wasting resources so that all of us will be able to enjoy the blessings that God has given back. And as a churchman, I would say, in the name of God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Thank you.
Professor Onywere, so you want to inform all of you that we have sometimes we'll be able to break, because if the Right Honorable the Prime Minister arrives, then we'll adjourn the session. So we have to have that in our minds so that we're able to use the time that we have well. So Prof, you have 7 minutes to deliver your presentation. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Your Excellencies, the First Ladies, and the CEO of the Lreb. Thank you so much for being present. Madam, thank you so much for being here. I am Professor Simon Onywere, coming from Kenyatta University. Many of you are Kenyatta University alumni. But I'm also working on a project, a very big project called Women's Economic Empowerment in Kenya, under the initiative for What Works for Women Economic Empowerment. It's a project that has been going on since 2020. And we are still in that project up to now. And if you see that poster, you will see that we are building programs and policy. And one of the programs we are tackling is the program in Tharaka Nithi County, where we are measuring the effects of a preschool intervention and child learning in women's economic empowerment. And allow me today to walk you through what we are doing in Tharaka Nithi, and I believe some of the Tharaka Nithians are here. I saw the governor yesterday, and it's a tour. So it's basically a tour. The intervention itself is coming about because of precisely what referent was talking about and what Madam talked about earlier, that women face a lot of challenges. And one of the challenges they actually have is taking care of the children before they go to school. That's one of the big challenges they face. And we had therefore 2 questions we wanted to address. If you go up, my friend. Now, I want you to go back up. Sorry, I am not running the presentation myself. And what we wanted to see is if we admitted 3-year-old children to school, that's playgroup, in public schools, will that lead to children developing well? I mean, learning and entering into the stage of school readiness and just physically developing well. The other thing we wanted to see is if the children went to school, will the mothers be able to go to work? Because if the child is not in school, the child is in school, then the mother has the space to go and work. Those are the 2 things we were looking for. And therefore, we went through this journey, and we are asking ourselves that if children attend school when they are 3 years, what is the impact of that on the preschool, on their preschool readiness? What is the impact of that? And we are also asking another question. Go down, my friend. That what is the impact of the preschool curriculum intervention that enrolls 3 years old? What will it have on time use for the mothers? So reflect about that, because that is the message today. We are nurturing care. And what does nurturing care mean? Nurturing care means that we have to provide some space for them. And of course, we have an hypothesis there. You can move up. I've been told I have 7 seconds, 7 minutes. Move up, please. Move up, move up, move up. Now, Tharaka Nithi County. We have worked in this women's economic empowerment with Tharaka Nithi since 2020. They are part of the project, and they were implementing a project on women livelihoods in the county. And through that project, they told us that they have 3 problems when we were doing the livelihood project. Problem number 1 is childcare. Problem number 2 is climate change that reduces productivity in them. And the problem number 3 is the infrastructure in the county. If you click on the map, you will see that this map has almost basically three colors. There's the brown colors at the upper part, which is the high agroecological zone. They receive rainfall up to 1,500 millimeters per year. So that's quite a bit of rainfall. And then you see the green part there is the middle part of the county. And that one is just between something like 1,000 to 1,300 meters above sea level. And then the lower side here is the low part of the county, surprisingly from 360 meters to about 700 meters above sea level. I'm giving you this because if you live in the upper zone, then your productivity will be different and the amount of money you can get will be different. If you live in the lower zone, it will also be the same. Move up, please. Move up, please. You'll see this. That is basically, you see the mountain, the other side, the lower zone. That's Mount Kenya. Therefore, the tip there, this is the lower zone, the lower zone there, and you can see the environment, the ecological environment is completely different and it has changed. Move up, please. Now, in agroecological zone, upper zone number 1, if you go down, you will see that the productivity from there is actually very rich. You have tea growing, very, 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 very similar to our Kisii here. I come from Kisii, by the way. Madam, I come from your neighbor there. And then there is also dairy farming and very many other productive activities. If you go to the middle zone, then you see it has changed. They keep animals, yes, but they want to graze them in the wild. And they also grow, yes, beans, maize, and a few other things. And therefore, the productivity there is going to be different. But if you go to the lower zone, then you can see even the crop in the farms. For that to survive, you actually have to have maybe 3-4 days of rainfall, something like that in different times for the beans to materialize or to mature, and the sorghum and other things in that area. And then they keep also the goats. They don't keep cows in this part. If they do, you are just using it for aesthetic, to appear you are wealthy, but not that they are productive for you. Please go up. And then, of course, I don't want to talk to you about population distribution. You can see that it is in the upper part, the blue part, the middle part, and the lower part, the population is different. Just move up, please. And then when you go here, when we did the women livelihoods, of course, we realized that most of the people there are engaged in agriculture. And the graph there is visible. I've provided this link. This is a link information, and you can access it. Just move up, please. And the type of production there is going to be very different. Now, I come to what we did. What were we doing in Tharaka Nithi? We went into a process of engagement with other partners from Yale University, Panko University, Tharaka Nithi itself, Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, and very many other partners. We went into a process of engagement to find out if we took children to school, what will it take? What will it require? So just move up, please. What will it require? We took children to school. The first thing is that the programs that you give the children in school must focus on the domains of learning, which are very well known. It is a curriculum of ECD in this country, but how do you deliver that effectively? And for that to be done effectively, we realized that the teaching must be done in the local language. Hello? In Dholuo or in Kitaraka. The teaching of the preschool must be done in the local language, and there is a reason for that. And then, what else did we need? We needed locally made materials. And we needed to prepare those materials, and we prepared very many materials. If you go to a classroom of Tharaka Nithi PP1, you realize that they have a lot of materials, a lot of teaching and learning materials that they use at every implementation of every part of the curriculum. Just move on, please. And of course, the children now are in school, and this one photo that you see that, we are teaching socio-emotional development of these children. We are helping them to do diagnostic reading. They are able to read well. And if you move on, they break into groups, and they Those groups, they discuss in their own, the teachers guide them. Sometimes they do pre-play for themselves. We went through a process of randomization, and you can see in this map here, Fred, if you can click on it, that the red dots are actually the schools where we are implementing the experiment. The blue dots are the schools which we call the control. These are true experiment. Therefore, we have control group and we have an experimental group. And you can see that they are distributed through the county, even though in the middle part there, the schools are fewer, and in the lower part there, the schools are fewer. And there was a reason for that, an experimental reason, because when we went to all the schools, 438 of them, and we wanted to understand whether the teachers there have ever attempted to bring 3 years olds to school. And we found that actually in those regions, despite the policy of government that no 3 years olds should go to school, they were bringing 3 years olds to school. Not because they wanted to teach them, but because the mother will bring the child, and asema wacha akae tu hapo kwa class, mimi nataka kwenda kufanya kazi. Na anamwacha tu hapo. So schools became non-compliant to what we wanted, and that's why there are some gaps there. But they are well distributed across the county, and we had an inclusion exclusion criteria. You can see the diagram on the other end is checks on how we randomize. We benefited a lot from the Kenya National Bureau in terms of assisting us on how to do the design for the experiment and how to pick your samples for analysis. Just move on, please. Move on, please. And of course, just move on, please. After, of course, we have now set the experiment. We have the materials. We have the children in school. We invited 5 3-year-old children to PP1 class. And therefore, the children are learning in PP1 class. We are then to engage a teacher. We recruited 1 additional teacher for PP1. And we trained the 2 teachers to do what we call teaching together in the classroom, shared teaching in the classroom. And we trained them for that purpose. And there's a lot of things we did. And then the assessment, we are following the tools of assessing the potential or what the effect of the experiment on the children. And we are following the various aspects of it. Just move down. I can see Tobias is standing. Okay. The result. What are we seeing? One thing we realize is that in Tharaka Nithi itself, if you look at this graph on this end, most women have not gone to school. I'm not sure about here, madam. I don't know about Siaya. But in Tharaka Nithi, 66.7% of the women have only up to primary school level. 66% of the women have only up to primary school level. That has a lot of meaning. When the pastor was trying to cry for the children here, that's a lot of meaning on how the mothers treat the children. And the other thing we realize, most of those women are engaged in casual labor work. Kufanya kazi kwa mashamba to deliver. That's what we have realized in that particular group. Just move on, please. Move on. Then, after the implementation of the experiment, we are now in the second year. We'll be collecting data in October towards the end. We did so at the beginning of the experiment in 2024. We did at the end of the experiment 1 year, and we now have end line to think about. You can see in these graphs, the orange bar is representing the effect of the program on the mothers. Now, in terms of time use, you'll see that the first bar is shorter. Why? Because the child, that's a program for child feeding, the feeding program. How do you engage in feed? How much time do you take in feeding your child? And it has actually decreased. Why? Because they have 1 more child they are not feeding, the one who has gone to school. They have that child they are not feeding and the child has gone to school. But on this other side, the orange graph is higher. On this side is how they are using the time now. You can see the productive activities has increased. There are more people doing productive activities. There are more people engaged in working outside their home, and there are more people engaged basically working in the environment, if you look at the orange bar graphs. So we can actually authoritatively say that taking away the children to school is actually increasing the time use of the mothers in productive activities for their work. And of course, there was a specific question we wanted to know: how much have they worked in the last 7 days? And we can see from the orange bar that there was a 2% increase in them working the last 7 days. So there's a contribution in terms of that. And they move down. Stop just 2 minutes. Okay. Mother's income, you can also see the green one. The mother's income has tremendously increased. This is at the baseline. The mother's income was not very nice, but you can see in the midline, the mother's income has drastically increased in terms of the resources they are getting. Why? Because they are going to work more. Move down, please. Of course, the decision making, there are various variables we measured in decision making. There is some statistics there. We have some positives related to how they are making decisions. There's even a graph here when you get this link, and I'm going to ask the secretary to share it, please. You can swap the glass. This is a glass. Just click on it. Click on it. You can swap on that glass to see the changes that have taken place in terms of the heights of the bars. There are some percentages there, and you'll see the percentages that has increased in terms of the effect that has had on the children. And we continue on. There is an outcome for the children. Just go to the outcome for the children. Child development, we have seen an increase in child development. You can see the change in the levels between their developmental levels. You can see those in those graphs, and of course the ECDI, that is the change that enables the children to show that they have developed well, is indicated there. The last one. Just go down, Nani, go down. That is the end of my presentation. Sorry, they are pushing me with time. I will have explained more, and we are a number of partners in this activity. They are all listed there, and we thank all the partners who have been working with us. This is something we have seen a real change on the children in Tharaka Nithi, and I wish there could be some testimonies, but it is something we will propose or recommend that the government actually takes it up and implements a curriculum that is the teaching of the children. We are seeing an environment where children are being taken to school and they just tell mama at the gate, bye-bye, so that the mama can go away. Note that when the children are brought to school, they cry at the gate while the mother is going away. We are seeing that potential impact. We have spoken to the teachers. The teachers are saying this is the best children they have ever met, because the children, when they are in parade, no noise, no nothing, they want to run to class to go and do their learning in class. And because they have plenty of play materials, they are able to enjoy their learning. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Let's appreciate him. So I think these are a cross-county sharing, so we'll work from evidence-based so that we can be able to model the ECD interventions. So allow me to invite Her Excellency, the First Lady, from Nyamira, Mrs. Emily Nyaribo. Welcome.
My name is Emily Nyaribo, the First Lady of Nyamira County. I will take a minute to introduce the other First Ladies in the crowd. Kindly just stand and say hello. Mukuje pande.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Lreb region. My name is Betty Murungi Orengo. I am from Siaya County, and I am very, very proud of our program, the SSS, the Start Smart Siaya initiative, which we call Nyathi and Mwandu program.
Thank you very much. My name is Agnes Ochilo, County First Lady, Migori County. I'm proud and glad to be here, but I don't think men should be given 1 month. They'll waste it. Thank you very much.
Asanteni sana, the governor, the CEO Lreb, wageni wetu wote wenye mumekuja Lreb, habari zenu tena. Now, I am here to represent the first spouses of the Lake Region Economic Bloc. Those are the 14 counties that make this bloc. So allow me to quickly tell you who we are and what we do and how we came about. We were formed in 2022 by an action of the governors of the Lake Region to support them. First of all, I will want to thank you for inviting us to the Devolution Conference as a region and as the first spouses of the Lake Region Economic Bloc. One, we are not political. We came together so that we can support the governors achieve their mandate in taking care of the people of the region or of their counties. And we touch the soft spots, the parts that they will not go to. We look for the vulnerable within the communities. We have therefore crafted programs that address that. Programs in health, programs in community empowerment, programs that target the disabled, programs that target the youth and the children, programs that also target food security. So allow me to just read my speech now that I have given you a preamble of who we are. I want to take this opportunity to appreciate the organizers of this event at the 2025 Devolution Conference. I also acknowledge you for your presence here today and participation in the various events organized. This year's Devolution Conference calls on us to leverage the available platforms at the county and national levels to strengthen structures aligned with its theme for the people, for prosperity, devolution as a catalyst for equity, inclusion, and social justice. Specifically, we are called towards reengineering county governments to accelerate development and close the socioeconomic divide, with a goal to examine the role of devolution in the realization of equity, inclusion, and social justice. In a bid to complement the country's efforts towards devolution and to buttress county government's efforts in addressing socioeconomic issues, the Lake Region Economic Bloc First Spouses Association, LFISPA, was created in 2022 with a key focus on the investment into the implementation of nurturing care for early childhood development. The Lreb First Spouses Association is purely a non-political association with its main objective being, one, to facilitate partnership between philanthropists, government, and the private sector as a key approach to the Lake Region Economic Bloc attaining the Sustainable Development Goals. Number two, to advocate for policy and social change in areas of early childhood development, in health, environmental protection, and others. Number three, to engage in resource mobilization efforts at the global, continental, and national levels. And number four, to advocate for projects that benefit the community, especially on economic empowerment and rights of children, and rights of the vulnerable members of the community. The first spouses from the 14 member counties recognize the need to take collective action towards supporting the governors in achieving the following. One, engage communities and enhance advocacy towards strengthening capacities of women and girls by vocalizing efforts that challenge traditional practices, which undermine the rights of the girl and contribute to teenage pregnancies, new HIV infections, early and forced marriages, GBV, and menstrual health. I want to address that, and thank you, Betty, for educating us on GBV. We were told there are no early marriages. That is actually child violation, and it is called rape. So if you have a child for a wife, then know that you are a rapist. And number two, while we were in Busia during a menstrual health management conference, we, the first spouses of the Lake region, came up with a slogan, my periods are normal and noble. We can all say that. My periods are normal and noble. Only the men. My periods are normal and noble. The men only. Yes, because without them, you would not be here today. So, yeah, support us in that. Secondly, the association embarked on eradication of cervical cancer campaigns across the Lreb member counties. This effort has seen to the establishment of Empower clinics across all the member counties. Awareness was heightened across the 14 member counties through our slogan, Woman, Word of Mouth Advocacy Network. All of us can use our mouths to tell our wives, our sisters, our mothers to go for screening. Word of Mouth Advocacy Network. You tell your neighbor, have you gone for your cervical cancer check? You tell the person in the office, have you gone for your cervical cancer check? Why do we do this? One, we are not doctors. Two, we don't have money to do those things. But we have mouths and we have the platform. Like today, I have the platform. So I will ask you, have you taken your mother, if you're a man, your sister or your wife to have herself checked for cervical cancer? And if you're a woman, have you gone for your check this year? If not, or if you have you told your mother, have you taken your child for the HPV vaccination? That is what we are good at, advocacy. The third thing that we do is women empowerment, in which the association, together with the Lreb leadership, has embarked on the supporting of women groups with creation of botanical gardens and fruit gardens for the sake of food security. As a region, in the last summit for the governors of the Lake Region Economic Bloc, we asked to be given a piece of land, at least 5 acres, and most of the governors have done that. And we have embarked on planting medicinal trees. We are trying to conserve the biodiversity in our regions. And number 2, we are planning to do the fruit trees. And the partners in here kindly support us to fully implement this particular project because it's very dear to our hearts and it is going to serve our communities very well. And the last thing that we do and we love most is nurturing care, or Smart Starts initiative, which encourages the integration of ECD programs into all departments in government. This is done through collaboration with various stakeholders, both states and non-state actors, to catalyze and strengthen efforts for achieving better ECD outcomes. The move has seen to the establishment of structures that ensure sustainable financing for ECD evidenced in the county planning documents and policy guidelines that support investment in ECD. These interventions have seen the initiating of child protection units and gender desks, partnerships with police, prison, and judiciary in adolescent and child matters, and for the court users committee and launch of the SGBV court. And thank you to Betty, we have an SGBV court in Siaya. I think all of you heard about the grandfathers of Siaya. Anybody heard about the grandfathers of Siaya? None of them did. The grandfathers of Siaya were siring children with their grandchildren. Did you hear that? None of you heard? Now I've told you. So there's an SGBV court in Siaya to help us with that. I'm happy that we have finally have the opportunity to put our heads together as the drivers of influence from various parts of the country to address the dynamics of investing in the future through nurturing care for early childhood development. Nurturing care considers efforts in both the household and public spaces that lead to the optimal development of children in their early years within our communities. It touches specifically on issues of good health, adequate nutrition, safety and security, opportunities for early learning, and responsive care giving. As Lreb first spouses, we have been very fortunate as a team to move together to have a number of platforms that plug into our broad objectives. Consequently, we have used these opportunities as drivers of influence to address issues emanating from nurturing care for early childhood development and other factors that affect its implementations. These include child abuse and exploitation, child marriages, child labor, violence against children, and the general protection of children in humanitarian emergencies. In promoting nurturing care for early childhood development, we have sensitized our local communities, including championing for policy development across the counties. We have raised awareness on mental health, since parental stress hampers responsive caregiving. We have supported multi-sector approach to nurturing care and supported its launch as having all sectors promoting it is our core advocacy in the region. We have implemented this in Nyamira, in Kisumu, in Migori, Kakamega, Vihiga, Homa Bay, Bomet, Bungoma, and we are planning to go to Kericho and Trans Nzoia. We have also facilitated other county-specific programs that align with nurturing care. For example, school feeding programs that have been successfully launched in Busia, in Siaya, in Nyamira, in Migori. Smart Start Siaya, where all of us are coping from. Ready Children for Ready Schools in Bungoma. Smart Start Initiative in all other Lreb counties. Happy Feet in Nyamira. Breastfeeding booths in Kisumu. Back to school for teen mothers in Kakamega, and all of us have kitchen gardens to address food security. Now, then what do we do if we have done all this? We would want this also to be replicated in all the other counties. We hope that what is being done in the Lake region can also be taken up by the other blocks, and the partners here can help us actually support the other first ladies, because they ask us, how do you do it? Why do you move without us? Yet this is one country we would want to move together. Number two, we would want to ask the partners in here and all well-wishers to support the first ladies of this region to finish up with the botanical gardens so that we can be able to get medicine for our children, empower our women so that they have some little money to take care of their children. And lastly, to continue educating the communities on nurturing care, on how to take care of a mother when she is expectant. Thank you very much, Professor, the Bishop, for talking about men taking, leave. How are you going to enforce it? So the men, please enforce it by yourself. If you're given leave, kindly stay at home and take care of the child. And number three, for me, men are the drivers of change in this country because you are the ones who keep our customs. If you say today that actually we are going to ensure that every child who is born in this county, in this country, is healthy, is well protected, has good nutrition, has had all the things that nurturing care advocates for, it will be done. So I am calling on the men of this region to take up the responsibility and support us as we continue to advocate for this. Thank you very much, and may the Lord bless you.
Thank you very much. So can we get another round of applause, please? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I want to invite the CEO, Lreb, her brother, Mr. Victor Nyagaya, to come and usher in the governor.
Thank you very much, Tobias. I want to take this opportunity in the interest of time to just thank the previous speakers and also to let the crowd, the participants seated here, that in in the Lake region, is the only block that we have a champion for menstrual hygiene, and that is His Excellency Dr. Paul Otuoma, and we deliberately chose him to be the chair of menstrual hygiene because there's been negativity. But without that menstrual hygiene, you would not be seated here. You had better wake up to the reality that that is the root for you being a human being. So we chose Paul Otuoma, our governor in Busia, to champion that, and he's done it pretty well. Finally, I want to say that, like Mama said, in Kericho, we said we need a resolution, and incidentally, Mama Rachel Ruto was the guest of honor, that you don't give sanitary towels during political times, because menstrual hygiene does not only come during politics, it is throughout. So we need a policy to ensure that government and our institutions that are responsible for providing menstrual hygiene towels, sanitary towels, do it throughout the year, because these things are done throughout the year. With those few remarks, I want to take this opportunity to invite Excellency James Aggrey Orengo, the governor of Siaya. Please welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm speaking after my bishop has spoken. It puts me in a very dangerous situation. But can I be granted, excuse in case I slip? Thank you so much, and Professor Kodia for being here. I want to thank the First Ladies, led by their able chair, Dr. Emily Nyaribo, Dr. Agnes Ochilo, and Betty Murungi Orengo. I'm wearing two hats as I speak here. First, as a governor of Siaya, I was going to attend as governor of Siaya and a member of the Lake Region Economic Bloc. But also, our chair is not here. Professor Nyang' Nyong'o is the chair of the Lake Region Economic Bloc. He is in another side event, equally important. So as I stand here, all the things that I should have said about Siaya have been said by other speakers. I hope that those who will come later may mention anything left behind, left without being spoken. But I want to thank in a very particular way Dr. Monica Ogutu. I want to thank you. I want to thank you for the work, wonderful work you have done, not just in Siaya, but more particularly in the Lake Region Economic Bloc. And you have taken this message to the Council of Governors. You remember in Mombasa, we have a meeting of governors, those who are ready and willing to attend. I think they went there with an appropriate message. Thank you, and don't tire. And of course, I thank the other partners who are here. Through you, Siaya has played a significant role. And I sometimes am excited when I hear one of our people is required to go to Brazzaville in Congo, in Dar es Salaam, and of course the Mozambicans who came to Siaya. And more importantly is the subject we are dealing with is about our children. If we don't give them a smart start in life, then society is condemned. the beginning of life, as spelled out in our Constitution, the beginning of our life starts with that age from conception, not from the moment you're born on the roadside like the bishop. And by the way, what the bishop was telling us is a story because he could not have known what was happening. Yeah, but he was already a human being. So the first 3, 4, 5 years, all of us in our lives, the characters that we have, that formation started when right at conception, but more particularly after you have been born and you start engaging with the family, with parents, and with the community at large. So this is a responsibility that we cannot run away as a people, as a state, as the Republic of Kenya, because those who we bring up depend on how we start with them at the time when they are born. So I'm very excited about this event, and let's continue walking this path together. So allow me now to read the official statement from the blog. Bwana Nyagaya, Victor Nyagaya, you've been very, very robust in your leadership. This gentleman has taken us all the way to India to discuss other things beyond early childhood development. And in India, I don't know whether they're doing the right thing because they're now the most populous country in the world. And I don't know where Kenya is rated in that. Now, this is the official statement from Lreb, from our chair, Professor Ajang Nyong'o. And we begin by acknowledging the progress that the national and county governments have made in education, health, and social protection. The county governments draw from Schedule 4 of the County Government Act and implements the early childhood development, which is popularly known as ECD. Through their county assemblies, we have undertaken legislative and policy reviews to ensure that our laws and regulations on education align with the Charter and internationally accepted standards. From our county integrated development plans, CIDPs, and other planning documents, we have taken deliberate measures and increased the budget allocated for education to enhance access and quality. Lreb ECD program, dubbed the Smart Start Initiative, ensures optimal brain development of the child for the first 1,000 days through nurturing care for early childhood development. And it's no wonder that in the spirit of this initiative, nearly in all the Lreb counties, school feeding program is now a fact of life in nearly all of them. Since devolution, the counties of Lreb have implemented a number of initiatives promoting nurturing care for early childhood development, and they include the following. Number one, formation of multi-sectoral teams or the technical working groups drawn from all departments of the county government and including national government as the case requires. This progress has also enhanced collaboration and coordination of all the implementing partners in the ECD space, a process that has worked very well in Siaya County and adopted by eight member counties of Lreb. These are the counties of Bomet, Bungoma, Busia, Kakamega, Vihiga, Nyamira, Kisumu, and Homa Bay. Second is drawing and aligning the scheme of services that ensures ECD teachers are motivated and are well taken care of. Since then, enrollment has significantly increased and quality is assured. And 3, development of country-specific policies and support effective implementation of ECDs. And finally, number 4, in collaboration with the Jaramogi Oginga Odinga University of Science and Technology, KMET, and PATH, we have developed a crucial curriculum for policy makers on the integration of nurturing care for early childhood development in all government sectors. Ladies and gentlemen, we are all aware that despite this milestone in Kenya and this region in particular, our children still face challenges stemming from structural and political tenets. Structurally, policy settings often limit investment in children's welfare, and politically, each administration often maintains the status quo, providing little attention to the plight of children. So as we convene here today, I encourage all of us to think about how we can replicate and scale the successes we share. Please use this time to develop the connections that will ensure when the next fundraising opportunity arises, you know who to collaborate with and to secure the funds needed to support our collective efforts in advancing child care. However, we must also address ongoing challenges such as poverty, lack of access to quality education, health issues, and child labor. Global issues like climate change, pandemics, and conflicts significantly impact children. The general objective is to take stock of the progress achieved and identify challenges concerning the realization of the optimal development of children in general. Going forward, we would like to urge all stakeholders, and most particularly the Lreb members counties, to first conduct member county assessments and take legislative, administrative, and budgetary and judicial measures to promote investment in nurturing care for early childhood development. Second, mobilize partnerships among stakeholders to ensure a more effective, equitable, and inclusive implementation of ECD, and that to be done effectively. And finally, provide proper policy guidance and create platforms to share capacity and experience among stakeholders on the implementation of ECD. Ladies and gentlemen, we urge governments, NGOs, communities, and individuals to take concrete steps toward improving the lives of all children, specifically in Kenya and the Lake Region Economic Bloc. While much has been done to support the policy agenda, more is needed to effectively implement these policies and create an impact, especially through deliberate investment in education and healthcare. As we continue advocating for changes in the ECD space, I acknowledge that education is an equalizer, crucial for breaking the cycle of poverty and empowering children. Our hope is that we implement policies ensuring all children have access to quality education, including children and marginalized groups. Our other concerns are strategies that empower youth. It is vital to involve children and youth in decision-making processes, encourage programs that foster leadership skills, and provide platforms for children to voice their opinions. Additionally, community and family involvement is important in fostering responsive caregiving. Communities and families play a critical role in nurturing and protecting children. Advocate for community-driven initiatives that support children's well-being and development. As we conclude, we want to appreciate all the effort of all the implementing partners in the ECD space. You have exceeded expectation in complementing government strategies. I would also like to appreciate the organizers of this event, as coordinated by the Lake Region Economic Bloc Secretariat. Special mention to KMET, PATH, ADS or ADS, Nyanza CRS, RCS, EIDU, the Luala community, for their unwavering support for the initiatives at the Lake Region Economic Bloc in the child space. We reaffirm our commitment to this cause and express hope for the brighter future for all children. Let us all work together to create a safe, healthy, and empowering environment for all children. In the spirit of unity, hope, and determination, let us make a lasting impact in the life of the child. Let us reach the last child in every village. And to add to this debate as to whether men should get 1 month, I think the debate will never really end until the men decide that it is not a law, is not a regulation, but is a need and a requirement. And you are commanded from above, particularly when it's the Archbishop, the Bishop who talked about it. Thank you very much, and for giving me this opportunity to represent the views of the bloc through the speech by Professor Nyang' Yong'o. And I particularly am honored because I am the patron of the education pillar in the bloc. Asante sana. Eru Kaman.
I want to welcome Honorable Opere, the CC member, Education, Homa Bay County, for the next session. Thank you.
God is good all the time. Your Excellency, in the interest of time, I would like to inform the team that we want to move directly to the panelists. And before we do that, we want to inform all of you that after the panelists, we'll read a communique so that our key, the people that give us key address may be able to assent to it. And then we'll proceed depending on time. We are told that there are some critical activity that are likely to come in between. And so those that will be coming in after this, please keep time. May I therefore call upon our Chair, Education Pillar Committee, Dr. Edgar Otumba, who is also going to be the moderator for the panelists. Welcome, Dr. Otumba.
Thank you, Waziri. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. There's a very critical activity that has been formed that is coming after this, but I think the child comes first. So that critical activity will happen after we have finished. Allow me to invite my panelists. I'll call them one by one and they can take their seats on the podium. Our first panelist is Evelyn Ododa. I'm trying to look around for the second microphone. So, Evelyn Ododa is the CEO.
think very good why we are having this conversation today. And I will start with Cecilia because you have been this for a long time, championing nutrition for a long time.
Okay, fine. I was calling Evelyn Ododa. She is the CEO in charge of health, Homa Bay County. And then one day is Stephen. One day Stephen is the director of medical services for Kakamega. So I'm going to start with Madam Beatrice Ogutu. Where's the microphone? Beatrice, in 4.5 minutes, please share with us your approaches in promoting development of a child from a family and society lens, and what strategies have you used in promoting the same?
Thank you so much for the question, Your Excellencies, our First Ladies, the CEO of Lreb. We thank God for this opportunity that we've been given to share. So one of the things that we really applaud, that we have moved from a moment where we are advocating for why ECD is an important investment, because all of us know it is an important investment, and it took us quite a long time to get there. In addition to the infrastructure and the services that have been put across in our various counties, one of the main systems, sorry about that, is the caregivers themselves. The parents that we are talking about. And in our experience in Kakamega, in Kisumu, in Nyamira, we're experiencing quite a number of different formations of families. And we know for early childhood care and development, for children to thrive, they need safe, stable, and nurturing environments. So what are we encountering? Grandparents taking care of young children because the young people have gone away for work or are engaged in other behaviors. We're experiencing a lot of adolescent motherhood, and that comes with its own various risks. We are experiencing blended families. I come with my child, you come with your child, we get a child of our own. We are experiencing polygamous families. So all these family formations come with a lot of issues that need to be addressed when we are talking about nurturing care. The previous speakers have talked about parental well-being. If parents are stressed, they are depressed, it doesn't matter how well our services are, because they will not be able to access those services. So what kind of solutions are we advocating for? In addition to health and nutrition, understandably, they've been the biggest investments in nurturing care. We are looking at responsive caregiving and opportunities for early learning. And we're looking at integrated services that add parental capacity, parental support, so that parents can be in a good space to take care of their children. We've seen scenarios where health and nutrition is provided in our various services in the counties, but if a parent is experiencing stress at home, they're experiencing intimate partner violence or are struggling with resources, they might not be able. So we are advocating for an expansion of parental and caregiving, the well-being of parents to be taken care of. And when we are talking about parents, I'm really glad that male engagement has also been promoted, because we are also seeing something that is becoming normalized, that as a community we should be able to shun away from, the baby mama syndrome. That I give birth to my young child and I don't care where the father is, but the father is supposed to take care of that child. So these different family formations did different kinds of sensitive access to services, noting that our very young children are being taken care of by different categories of parents and caregivers, and all of them are going through various forms of stress. And if they're doing so, then they're not able to get the right support to be able to provide nurturing care for their children. The other aspect that we are looking at is the prevention angle. We know adolescent motherhood is one of the biggest challenges we're experiencing. It's a greatest risk to early childhood care and development. So as we are thinking about ECD from an education lens, from a health lens, how about we also expand it to address the social norms that allow our young girls to be able to get children early? Because prevention in itself can enable us avoid many of the struggles that we are having right now in terms of access to care. and therefore the young parents from age 13 should be supported to be able to do that as well. The other issue that we really want to promote is equal opportunities for young children, both boys and girls. So we are talking about gender transformative parenting programs that empower and equip parents to raise boys and girls from an equal perspective, that all of them can access education, can play, can thrive. And therefore, when parents are supported with the right capacity, when there are services that support the well-being of parents so that they can be able to manage the stress and the other struggles of life, then they can be supported. So what are we talking about in practical terms at county level, and what we are also trying in Kakamega County? An integrated service model where in addition to health and nutrition, parental well-being is a core component, can be provided for by the community health workers, but also by social workers employed by the county. In addition to those service points, there are home visitations that our community health promoters also deliver within our communities. So beyond the health interventions, how can we equip our community health workforce, our social wealth workforce, to be able to provide these integrated services so that then we can catch families where they are, and noting that these families come in different combinations with different challenges. So those are the aspects that I would want to promote in my 4.5 minutes. But parental stress, I really want to stress this. Well-being of parents is very critical for nurturing care. Parents who are not supported to deal with stress, anxiety, intimate partner violence, and other aspects that they are going through cannot be in a good position to raise their children. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Beatrice.
Introduce us as CEO, not.
Thank you, Beatrice. Allow me to pose another question to Madam Charlene, CEO of SMARCS Foundation. From your perspective, what systematic measures do you think county government should put in place to promote inclusivity and also to adopt a whole of government approach in implementation of nurturing care? 4.5 minutes.
Thank you for the heavily loaded question, which I'll try to attack in 4.5 minutes because it has various components to it. When we talk about systemic measures, I believe policy plays a big part in this, and we've just adopted the Persons with Disabilities Act 2025, which is actually a very strong move in regards to this. The second point of this question is about county governments. My question is, how are county governments adopting and implementing the Persons with Disabilities Act? Where does this sit within the structure of a county government? Who is the CEC or the CEO who is in charge of this so that they can push forward what we need to do with our persons with disability? And to promote inclusivity. Yesterday when I was sent the poster for this panel, I posted it on my WhatsApp status, and one of our MCAs who is disabled from Kirinyaga County gave me a message to give the people in this room that actually when it comes to early childhood development education, we have completely ignored our young persons with disabilities. For example, because I work very closely with the deaf community, a young deaf person only gets to go to school at the age of 7 years. This is something that is very worrying, because something that we forget is from when we stay at home from 0 to 3, we're actually developing language. That is where we learn to speak. We're engaging with our parents, if somebody has siblings, with other members of the community. But for a young deaf person, when they start school at 7, they have to begin by learning the language. So this becomes very difficult for them, and that is why ECDE would be a great solution. But it comes with a lot of strings along that, let me call it a value chain, because the best way for a deaf young person to learn is from a deaf learned person, or a young blind person to learn is from somebody who has walked that journey, who would be a blind teacher. So again, how have we incorporated the teachers and the learnings? And even from the presentation of Daktari, which was very good about the case study they're doing in Tharaka Nithi, there was no inclusion of young persons with disabilities there. So the first step of promoting inclusivity begins in this room and our awareness that young persons with disabilities, blind, deaf, those dealing with physical disability, they actually have not yet been given that space in as much as we have signed in something into law. And the first statement of the law indicates that we outlaw any discrimination to people with disability in regards to education, employment, and health. So I believe that is how we can adopt a whole of government approach, by having that intergovernmental action happening together so that we can implement nurturing care for early childhood development. And my biggest belief, a part of early childhood development sits with how we do our food and nutrition security. When I have walked across the country to various counties, we quickly realized that our young people, first of all, have no interest or no understanding in where their food comes from, especially young people in urban areas. I've seen many times they think that food comes from a supermarket or it comes from Marikiti. Knowing that food actually comes from our farms is a strength that the Lake Region Economic Bloc have, because I've met young people in this region and I've seen their Zola farming they're doing, the fish farming they're doing, and using that platform to explain to even the younger people in schools and having centers there where young people can see, where does my food come from? What is a balanced diet? How do I create that for myself? I believe looking at it holistically from different sectors, be it agriculture and what my sister earlier has mentioned about parental care, can really help and support in nurturing care for early childhood development. I believe I've met my time.
Thank you. I'm guided that there is a brief interlude. Bwana CEO.
Sorry for that. We have a small interlude of gifting our chief guest, who must be in another session, so that we can then proceed. We will have no other interruption. Your Excellency.
We are gifting His Excellency the Governor, who was our chief guest today. And we thank him for the good words and the encouragement in our nurturing care. As the Governor leaves, there is a debate ongoing in this room about male involvement in nurturing care. Sinamna hiyo. So allow me to invite Sam, who works for the Anglican Development Services. And Sam is going to tell us about male involvement in responsive caregiving. Do we also need 1 month for caregiving or 2 months?
For this opportunity to be part of this important forum. At ADS Nyanza, which is the Anglican Development Services, a development arm of the Anglican Church in Kenya, we implement integrated development services in the 6 counties of Nyanza region, including Vihiga and also Samburu. We envision an empowered and dignified humanity. Like the rest, we believe in investing in early learning through intervention that lead to responsive care, livelihoods, nutrition, maternal child health, child security. Now, we are grappling with the issue of male engagement or involvement, because this is one of the important missing links, as have been alluded to by the previous speakers. And in doing so, I would say that it has been both interesting and also very challenging to bring male on board. So what are the challenges that we have faced? And maybe at a later time, I'll talk about how we have overcome some of them. One of the biggest challenges is cultural barriers. Culture places caregiving role right at the doorstep or in the hands of the female gender. And therefore, both men and women, both men and females, inhibit men from playing that role. And here, the mothers-in-laws are the biggest culprits. I don't know whether we have them in this room. Mothers-in-laws, are you there? You will agree with me that a mother-in-law will not tolerate if his son is playing these roles. Maybe seen to be taking the child to the clinic or even taking part in the household chores in order to save time for the wife. So these cultural barriers is quite a big problem. And these are enforced right from childhood. We see it in the way we even gift the children. Males are gifted with different toys, and females are also different with different toys that kind of reinforce the future roles that they'll be expected to play. Secondly, alongside the cultural barriers, we also have stereotypes where men are prohibited from carrying, for example, children who are young enough. Because there are these stereotypes that if a man carries his child who is still young, a toddler, he'll perhaps lose his manhood. And you'll agree with me that there's nothing men fear like something challenging their manhood. So they kind of try to shy away from these roles because of such stereotypes. The second barrier that we have realized and we have lived as an experience is that males are not aware of the key benefits of their involvement. This awareness surrounds the benefits that go direct to the child, the benefits to the female partner, and the benefits to themselves. And therefore, they don't feel compelled to play an active role in this manner. The third and the last in terms of these challenges is the occupational barriers, whereby men are the breadwinners. And in their schedule for looking for bread, they leave the house in the morning and perhaps come very late in the evening. So the idea of creating time to be with the child is a big challenge because sometimes they come back home when they're very tired and exhausted. So as we will mention later, we have moved away from the idea of asking men to create time to the idea of asking them to fit the children within their schedule in order to make it work. So the interesting bit is the fact that we have realized some changes when we try to bring male on board, because we've realized that men develop certain interest when they become aware of these benefits. The benefits to the child, the faster growth and development of the child, better resilience in the children, better labor outcomes, and also improved mental health and well-being. And once they become aware of these benefits, we have noticed that there's an increased interest in the men playing a role in this manner. Secondly, we have used what we call male champions. Within the communities, we have certain males whose behavior have changed. And what comes out is that in as much as these cultural beliefs are there and they are being shunned by fellow men, quietly they admire these men whose behavior has changed and they are playing a very active role in responsive caregiving to their children. So we have used such male champions to speak to the other men within male spaces where they are comfortable and they are free to discuss. And this has brought some positive changes in terms of increasing the participation of the male. Two, we encourage the use of faith leaders. We just heard our bishop talk about certain interventions that could help bring male on board. So these are trusted people. The community trusts them and their word is taken as the right one. So we have used these faith leaders to bring some positive messages around biblical texts, Quranic texts, or even the ones that come from other faiths. And because they are trusted, when they speak to these men, we have realized that their word is taken as a positive one. And therefore, from that end also, we have seen some very good changes coming. Now, as an organization and through the faith leaders, we have come up with what we call the Babahood Manual. And therefore, this Babahood Manual, we use it to train or to create awareness to the males in the male-only spaces. The male-only spaces exist everywhere. In the Anglican Church, for example, we have the Kenya Anglican Men's Associations. I believe in other faiths also we have men's associations where we have gone with this manual, trained them, and we see a lot of change of attitude. Now, I also mentioned that the idea of asking men to create time is neither here nor there. So we encourage men to fit their activities, their schedules, so that the children can fit within. For example, even if it is a simple activity of, for example, going to water a vegetable garden, when the man is watering the vegetable garden, he is encouraged to bring along the child, to be given also a small water can, which the child uses also to water the plants. And from that, conversations begin. The child and the father begins to interact. And the father begins to interpret to the child the relationship between the water and the growth of food. And the child comes up as a strong person who will live to his full potential when he grows up. Lastly, I would say that these strategies are highly replicable, and we encourage every other member who is present here to go back home and try some of them. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sam. I would wish to request that as you leave here, you give us a soft copy of the Babahood Manual so that all the men here can have a look. If with Education Caucus, we are here on a learning spree, so please give us your experience in Busia.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. And I really want to appreciate this opportunity. Before I give you experience, allow me to appreciate our partners. I know KMET talks about Siaya, but KMET is the reason maybe Busia is where we are. Because it's the first time I heard about the nurturing care. I was a CC Health and it was from KMET. And I was like, wow. So there's something called the first 1,000 days, which I never did when I was getting my babies. So my grandchildren have to go through that. Anyway, that's on a light note. So thank you, KMET. Thank you for working with us. Thank you, World Vision. You have a very robust Bobo Bigo about nurturing care. We have UNICEF that has been training our culture campaigners. We have Adeda here, Child Fund, also working with us. So I think for us, even as I share experience, I think I want to credit our partners, our leadership, our governors, our first ladies. Thank you for training the governors, because the first time governor came from Mombasa after they came at training, he was really upbeat about this 1,000 days. And he was asking me, how come I'm the last person to know this good news? And so really, we really want to appreciate what you've done for counties. And so in Busia now, that made us realize that even as education sector, it wasn't just about the ECDE. You know, we were used to this being an ECD thing. It's about ECD. ECD is the centers, the learning. And so we realized that there's more to it. It's not just about the structures. It's more about that child coming to us. And so when we received very sad news when our governor took over and our data was reading very badly matters nutrition, our stunted, our wasting, we quickly realized that we must do something as a county government to save. We know we're like, yeah, the first 1,000 days could have gone for these ones in school, but then there's something we can do. And so in Busia, we began a school refeeding program. And I think courtesy of what you have done in the multi-lateral approach that you came with to the county, our school feeding program took that approach. It was a multi-sectoral approach. And I began realizing that actually through the school feeding program, it's a place where nurturing care is being harnessed from all departments. And so from all the pillars, I'll just go straight because there's so much we have done apart from recruiting teachers on CECT on permanent pensionable times, furnishing our classes. Now we have an RRI where for the first time Busia County, in the last financial year, we didn't disburse bursaries when that was announced. All that money has gone into ECD classes construction. And for the first time we have an RRI, we've put up over 100 classes. So in the next, so that is one thing that happened because of realizing that when Governor came, he realized it's not just about that child, it's more about the environment. And so I'll just maybe clear, through the school feeding program, how then have we nurtured the nurturing care framework? How has it come into play? And I will find that under adequate nutrition, of course, we are feeding over 45,000 learners in ECD centers with a hot, nutritious meal. It's a homegrown solution where we buy the rice from the farmers in Budalangi. We have rice, growing rice. So we buy the rice in Budalangi. The parents contribute the pulses, they contribute the beans. And then, of course, the county government provides also the oil and the cooking and the salt. So that is a homegrown solution. So what means that, so the learners are being fed and adequate nutrition. Again, what you're also doing with that is that they also have porridge, and that's purely a parent's contribution, the porridge. All the learners have porridge. Now, the school feeding, the meal is twice a week. Yeah. And in good health, the community health promoters, the Department of Health, when it comes to matters of good health, have been really involved. Now, when we purchase the rights from Budalangi, the public health departments make sure that it is actually milled within Busia County. We have a miller. And so public health will go in there and take samples and test for aflatoxin. And if they find it, there's a time we had to put a whole consignment of rice because they said it had aflatoxin. Yeah, so that is we have particular. The nutritionists, again, when we are sending the rice to schools, they've given us the matrices, like what every child needs to consume per day. So we have all those from the nutrition department. So we take what is just needed maybe per child. So whatever goes to the schools is adequate for those children for the time that they need to feed. And we also have the health department providing them with vitamin A supplementation. And they do deworming in the schools. And now what we are saying is that we want those records now maintained within the school so that you can monitor a child and say, this child, when they came here, and they also do the monitor growth. They have begun that so that we want to see this school feeding program, what is the end result? Are there improvements? And sufficient safety and security under that pillar. How is nurturing care in the school feeding program being achieved? So we are collaborating with other departments, yeah? Public health for inspection, of course, for safety of the food. And then the other people that are very heavily involved is the administrators on the ground. The public health, the county commissioner, the chiefs, everyone monitors the school feeding program. If there's a problem, they will call me and tell me, this is happening here. There is no food in this school. So with that, we realize that it's brought up, even all the pillars are together. And then, of course, the improvement in the status of, when we buy this rice from the farmers, of course, they are getting money back. In fact, now what they do, the farmers hoard rice and ask me, are you buying rice for the school feeding? Because they were selling rice to Uganda at a throwaway price. A kg of paddy in Uganda goes for 30 shillings. That's what the Ugandans buy it for. Remember, they are buying this rice as paddy. So they are going away with even their husks. So they are taking more than they're even paying for. And that rice goes to Uganda, but a lot of it goes to Uganda. The Ugandans now go, they mill, it comes back to Kenya, and is sold back to us. Yeah. So this now, because the county government is buying it at 60 shillings per kilo, we're giving them a better offer. And now, of course, it is milled in the county. So they actually allow, their times they even come for the husks and say, let me take them to my chicken. So that is, improve the economic status. So at least in that pillar, we're able to put some money in their pockets. About for early learning, at least that is what we do in our school. We give them adequate furniture, and our furniture again is made in the Vocation Training Center. So adequate furniture from the VTC is given to them. We have AIDU, partnered with AIDU. Digital learning is in our schools. Of course, all our teachers have been employed on a permanent scheme of service. They're permanent, all of them, and on the scheme of service that was rolled out. And so they're a bit comfortable. And so learning with disabilities, I would like Charlene to hear this, is that for us in Busia, we actually support the learners with disabilities. We may not be there, but anytime we are doing our budget to ensure that we have some support for them, we are also trying to come up with a way to modify our classes so that they can be able to access. And it's still very hard because right now we don't have teachers who are really, so what I've done is, what we've done as a department is that we are putting up a learning, we've converted a center. We want to put up a place for capacity building teachers on learning with disabilities, for how we can do that. And the last pillar, which is responsive caregiving, all our teachers, courtesy of UNICEF, who have now, all of them, we train them on nurturing care. 2 days, all teachers, and they were so excited, yeah? And we're saying, where has this thing been? So all our teachers right now are very sensitive. Now what they have done, they've gone back and now they are taking opportunities to talk to parents, to talk to talk. You know, a teacher, I was a teacher and I'm a kindergarten teacher for that. That's where I began. And so I know that as a teacher, I taught a child, the firstborn, I taught the secondborn, because I develop a relationship with the parent. Because when they come, you ask them, so, hey, there's another baby coming, so we'll talk about the baby. And when that baby becomes your baby. And so teachers have a powerful way of even talking about nurturing care to the parents. So we've trained all of them, so to help the health promoters on that. We've also, courtesy of UNICEF, we had a campaign called Kuwakocha, where we brought back all community involvement, CHVs, county government, national government, social protection, children society. And we trained them. So there were 25 TOTs who were trained. And then from there, we ended up training other trainers. So we had 1 week, like 2 months, we were running on all radio stations within the county. I was there. If I'm not there today, Director, thank you, Director Barasa, he's there. The next day we are saying, who from commission can go? They are there. We called the county commissioner, can you give us someone? So it was like a concerted effort to talk about nurturing care within the county. And so with that, I think as a county, we really want to appreciate what we are doing, but we really want to just ask that this is the way to go. And as I said, the chief whip of education pillar, we are saying we are leaving no one behind, no child behind, matters nurturing care framework. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief Whip. She has mentioned the community health promoters. So I'm sitting next to the CEO Health in Homa Bay, and I wish that she could tell us the role of CHPs in nurturing care.
Thank you, Dr. So for the Department of Health, we've integrated all the 5 pillars for nurturing care. And one of them, under good health, we've ensured that all our mothers attend antenatal clinic visits. Then we also have safe deliveries at maternity and also follow them through postnatally. So how have we done this? We have empowered our community health promoters to be able to identify pregnant mothers at household level during their home visitation, and then refer them to the nearest health facility to initiate antenatal care clinics early, so that they're able to get the antenatal profiles and all the examination and investigations done to the pregnant mothers. Our CHPs are also able to take pressure, check the blood sugars at home, and also refer at-risk mothers to the health facilities for early intervention. And then at the maternity, we've also empowered our healthcare workers to be able to take care of our mothers and ensure that they have safe delivery. For Homa Bay County, today we are celebrating 97 days of zero maternal death. And this is because of these strategies that we've put, because of strengthening of the community units and also the referral system from the community to our health facilities, and also be able to follow these mothers postnatally and ensure that no child loses their life after birth. Again, for nutrition, our community health promoters have also been empowered to be able to take weight and also check the mark and refer these mothers and children to the health facility for nutrition assessment support in case they need any nutrition support for those who are already malnourished. We've also not just left it at that. We've also empowered our mothers economically so that they're also able to have kitchen gardens at home, that they're able to get fresh food from this garden and also help them to help support them nutrition-wise. So for responsive caregiving, we've also trained our caregivers to be able to respond to the needs of their children. For example, the children who've been given birth to prematurely, we've trained and supported our mothers to be able to offer kangaroo care service for the premature babies and also be able to express breast milk for these children so that they also still get breast milk because they are not able to suck from the breasts due to the prematurity for these babies. Again, for safety and security of our children, as a health department, we've ensured that our children also grow in safe spaces and also provided the child-friendly environment, both at our maternal child health clinics and also in the outpatient department and in the pediatric wards. So we have child-friendly centers. We have homemade play materials that we are able to provide for caregivers and for children to play as they were to be seen by our nurses and also by our doctors. And then opportunity for early learning, for early childhood. We've also ensured that our CHPs have been well empowered, well trained to be able also to train the caregivers to be able to play with these children and stimulate. Even for men, as we talk even about male involvement, we also want men to be speaking to the children as they are still growing in the womb. So they're able to stimulate the pregnant mothers to ensure that they start this early and also avoid issues of gender-based violence when the mothers are pregnant or even after delivery, because our children must grow in a very safe environment for them to thrive well. So one thing that we have done as counties, and what we really need to do, when we have good political will and the buy-in from the top leadership, this one makes things run smoothly for us as counties. And for Homa Bay County, I really want to thank Her Excellency, the Governor of Homa Bay, Honorable Gladys Nyasunawanga, for taking this initiative and ensuring that health indicators currently are on the right trajectory. And that is what we really want as counties. So when the top leadership is in this, through the multi-sectoral approach, we have all the departments involved. And this one means that we can be able to lobby for budgets for nurturing care in all the departmental budgets, in our CIDPs, in our ADPs, so that we support nurturing care for early childhood development. So some of the best practices that we would really want our partners or our counties to copy from Homa Bay County. Number one is the involvement of leadership. I'm glad that this was done at the initial phase and the county top leadership was involved. And that is why the implementation has been smooth and has been really doing well for us as Homa Bay County. Then number two is having the multi-sectoral teams from the sub-county level to the county level, where all the departments come together, learn from each other, share their data, and see how best they need to move forward in terms of nurturing care for early childhood development. Then the third good best practice is issues of integration of nurturing care in our legal frameworks. As Homa Bay County, we recently launched our child welfare and protection policy. And in this policy, issues nurturing care were well covered in this document. So once we have nurturing care captured in our legal frameworks, it gives us easy time in its implementation. We also had it well captured in our RAMCA policy that we are almost launching as a Homa Bay county. Then the third issue is on issue of resource mobilization. I know most of the counties like Homa Bay County or the county of endless potential, but with limited resources. We've been able to work with our partners to support implementation of nurturing care in these various county. And that is why the implementation for sure is working well for us. So issues of in-school and out-of-school mentorship programs, this one is also doing very well in Homa Bay County, where we also identify teen moms, teen fathers, put them in different groups during a breakaway sessions and discuss issues on nurturing care. So this is integrated outreaches for our teen moms and our teen dads. So the last thing is on the issue of having an integrated M&E tool. And today, as Homa Bay County, we are proud to say that we have developed an integrated monitoring and evaluation tool where we have geospatial indicators for our pregnant mothers. And this tool is being used by our community health promoters. So at a glance, we can tell you that we have this number of pregnant mothers in this region. We have this number of pregnant mothers that are expected to deliver in a given month in this health facility. And this tool is going to help us for sure to follow through all the indicators of nurturing care from conception to delivery and 3 years postnatally. And it is being done by our CHPs supported by our health care workers. So lastly is having the issues of breastfeeding parlors in our modern markets, so that even mothers who are in this market, mothers who are doing businesses, cannot leave their children at home to other caregivers, but they come to their children because they have a place where they can go and breastfeed their children. Otherwise, thank you, and thank you so much.
Makofi kwake. That is Homa Bay County. Kakamega, Daktari.
Thank you very much. As a county, we are learning very fast from our neighbors, Sierra County, in the implementation of nurturing care for early childhood development. We did a baseline assessment last year, and some findings were really interesting, that even healthcare workers weren't sure what nurturing care was, and yet it is something they do every day. So I really want to thank our leaders, Lreb and the partners, for bringing this to the table so that everybody sitting here has an understanding of what nurturing care is. Nurturing care basically means giving our children in the first 1,000 days the best, so that builds the future of this country. A lot has been said from the other counties, from the community engagement to the MST formation. Allow me to just share 2 innovations in Kakamega. We have a program we call Baraza Care, Imarisha Afya Mama na Mtoto. This program is a flagship program by His Excellency the Governor, and the aim is actually to improve our maternal and child health indicators. So the CHPs will map the pregnant mothers from the community, and they'll be encouraged to attend their clinics. At every point of attending this clinic, they qualify for a small stipend. Kakamega is a broadly rural-based county, so the poverty pressure is also high. And you realize that there's usually the decision to make for a mother: should I go to the clinic or should I do some work to get something to feed the family? So this program allows them, when they come, they qualify for a stipend. We expect them to attend. Previously it was 4, but now it's 8 antenatal care clinics. When they deliver at the hospital, in a facility, under skilled assistance, they also qualify for a stipend. When they bring the children for immunization, they also qualify for that stipend. And the child is followed up and supported to also register so that they have their birth certificates registered for them. That basically helps us to address the nurturing care journey in the county, so that the mother is supported from conception all the way to delivery, and they're followed up beyond the 3 years. Now, we have a big challenge in Kakamega County, and I know it could be true for the other Lake Region counties, of teen pregnancies. And most of the teen mothers are usually stressed by the pregnancy first. long before even the baby comes. So it's actually a double challenge for them. Our First Lady, Her Excellency Professor Janet Baraza, has come up with a program to support teen mothers within Kakamega County through the journey of the pregnancy until they deliver, and they are supported if they are willing to go back to school or to attend tertiary institutions. And we have also pulled in a gender transformative wing to it so that to bring the community to understand the teenagers, because usually the family will not understand a 16-year-old who comes home that she's pregnant. The father will not, the mother may not, the brothers and sisters will not. This program is pulling them together to understand that this child still has a future. This young girl is going to be a mother. That child who is going to be born also has a future. And they are supported through gender-specific thought, through main engagement in meetings within the community. They are managed for free within our facilities so that they are then motivated to visit the clinics, deliver in the hospitals, and after that, they're able to take back, whether they were in school or they were in a tertiary institution, they're able to take back their roles in the society. Allow me to conclude by saying that all this depends on budgeting. As a county, we realize that it's difficult to draw straight line budget, calling it nurturing care. So we have integrated these interventions within existing programs, so that when you're talking to the director of ECD, you're talking to the director of health, you're talking to the director of agriculture, talking to the director of water, for instance, you do not introduce a new thought that then takes them time to internalize. You integrate within the programs they're already implementing and just make them know that this is going a long way to support the caregiver and the baby so that they survive through their 1,000 days and they become thriving Kenyans in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Daktari. Finally, we have Child Fund, who is our senior most partner after KMET. And now that we have had all of us talking, and you are the one talking last, what recommendations can you pose forward as we talk nurturing care? Bwana Adede.
I think it's very difficult to talk when everybody else has talked, and especially all the good points are given. Allow me just to give a summary of Emory University in the US. Child Fund has been implementing nurturing care program for a number of years, especially in the Nyanza region. And the current one is implemented in Homa Bay and Busia counties. The evaluation that was conducted used a mixed method approach, combining a control trial, a randomized control trial for the impact evaluation, as well as the qualitative evaluation process. The specific questions that the evaluation looked at involved assessing effectiveness of the Child Fund program for improving early child development and caregiving outcomes. And the second one looked at how effective Child Fund programs implementation were, and of course also trying to identify which factors influence the quality and effectiveness. Just to give a summary, the impact evaluation enrolled 642 primary caregivers and their children that were aged between 0 to 24 months across 64 villages in Ndiwa sub-county, that is Homa Bay, and of course Bunyala sub-county in Busia county. Half of the villages were assigned either intervention or either an intervention group or a wait list for control purposes. These were done at the baseline and of course at the end line. And the process involved in-depth interviews with about 58 respondents. That included group facilitators, mentors, caregivers, and of course focus group discussions with multi-sectoral teams that most of my colleagues have talked about. These were meant to examine program implementation, to understand the underlying factors influencing program delivery, and of course the quality. The quantitative measures included early learning, responsive caregiving that measured through caregiver stimulation practices, parenting attitudes, caregiving home environment. The second one looked at child safety and security, and this was measured through positive discipline, harsh discipline practices, as well as birth registration. The third one looked at psychosocial well-being. That was measured by looking or assessing parenting stress, depressive symptoms, social support, and of course the financial worries that I think most of us are currently going through. The fourth one looked at the male caregiver involvement, stimulation, and household chores. And I know my brother from Arts Nyanza looked at that in terms of the male involvement. The fifth one looked at the nutrition, which most of the speakers have talked about, and this was measured through dietary diversity as well as minimum dietary diversity scores. And then the final one looked at the health, that measured illnesses and caregiver-seeking behaviors. The qualitative approaches that were used include or assessed the program fidelity, the program satisfaction, perceived effectiveness, and of course, the recommendations. These are the key findings. The first on the ECD outcomes, confirmed or found out that the program did not yield significant improvements in ECD outcomes as measured by the global scales for early development, that is GSED for those in the ECD work. And then the next one also looked at the caregiver reported early development instruments, that is CREDI, and both of these interventions and control groups more or less showed similar progress over a 1-year period. The second one was the parenting practices. The program was found to have led to moderate to large improvements in caregiver stimulation practices and several indicators of the home observation for measurement of the environment. Environment inventory, including overall scores and selected domains. However, there was no significant changes in the home responsiveness, acceptance, and variety scales. The third one looked at the discipline practices, and this found out that there was significant reduction in harsh discipline practices, which were observed among primary caregivers, with lower odds of using violent discipline or physical punishment and psychological aggression in the intervention group compared to the control group. The fourth one on health and nutrition confirmed or found out that the program improved dietary diversity and appropriate caregiving or care-seeking practices for child illnesses. However, we didn't find significant impact on household food insecurity or financial security, which I think is common. The next one looked at caregiver mental health, and it was found that the program led to small but significant reduction in depressive symptoms among primary caregivers. However, it was also found that there were no significant changes, especially in the parenting stress, financial worries, or perceived social support. The qualitative evaluation process looked at the program implementation, and it confirmed that the program was implemented with very high fidelity, leveraging a cascading supervision model. Group facilitators and mentors received multiple training sessions and ongoing support. However, some challenges were also observed that included inconsistent access to mental health counseling and limited participation of male caregivers. I know that remains a challenge across board, and I believe that that's something that we'll need to take home. The second one looked at caregiver engagement, and the research confirmed that caregivers reported learning about a wide range of topics, including nutrition, health, play, communication, discipline, and WASH. And they really appreciated the relevance of the sessions and the quality of the group facilitation. The third one looked at the barriers and facilitators. And key barriers that were identified included economic strengthening considerations, competing responsibilities, and environmental disruptions, such as the flooding that took place in Busia and, of course, parts of Homa Bay County that really affected most of the parenting sessions that were being conducted. Facilitators included caregivers' desire to learn, prior relevant experience among delivery agents, and the quality of program materials. All these are found to be very effective. On the psychosocial well-being, sorry. Just a minute. Yeah. On the program impact, the qualitative improvements were consistently reported in nurturing care practices, family relationships, and caregiver mental health. However, financial constraints remained a significant challenge, and this was found to limit the full implementation of the recommended practices. In terms of implication for programming and conclusion, it was found that Child Fund Parenting Program demonstrated positive impacts on parenting practices and other nurturing care outcomes, despite the challenges related to economic constraints and, of course, heavy flooding. The impact on ECD outcomes, however, were negative, and the evaluation provides several insights to guide future improvements. Maybe in summary, what I can say is that Child Fund has been implementing nurturing care programs not only in this region, but also even in Turkana, and I have our partners from Turkana with us here. One thing that has come out very clearly is the need to have male involvement. I mean, from the very, very onset, from the program design all the way in doing the implementation, evaluation, and all the way. And then there is also the economic strengthening bit that was also found to really be wanting. I think for us to succeed, we really need to look at the element of economic strengthening, especially how parents and caregivers can be supported to look at both caregiving as well as strengthen the economic hardships aspects. And then the third one, I think, is also the mental health and psychosocial support that also has been, I know Beatrice talked about, that has been found to be very, very key. I know Charlene mentioned about the need for disability inclusion. That was also an outcome that initially we did not really design the program to look at that, but when we were implementing the program, that was a core element that was also identified by even our donor, the Conrad Hilton. I remember in one of the intervention areas in Ndewa, I hope I'm still within my 4 minutes, we found a mother who had given birth to a child who was disabled or physically disabled, and the mother was so depressed that she could not even be able to accept the child. So it took the effort of the father and the grandmother to nurture the child until the mother was able to accept the child and even start breastfeeding. So I think sometimes when we talk about male involvement, I think we need to look at it from all the various aspects. And in that example, you can see that 1 month is really needed for men to have that break to take care of the children. And then I think finally for Child Fund, we took a deliberate effort or a decision to implement this program within a period of 1 year. And so when the evaluation was done, it's clear that that must have been a gap. We must have been very ambitious to think that we would be able to achieve, especially learning outcomes within 1 year. So moving forward, that's one area that we are going to look at to ensure that our designs and the interventions really incorporate most of these key outcomes that have come out from the research, as well as all the points that have been mentioned from all of us. I really thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you, James. Allow us to end our session at that point and hand over the microphone to Waziri Homa Bay. But I request the panelists to stay on because Waziri, in case there is a very serious lunchtime question from the plenary, You may proceed.
Thank you, Daktari and panelists. Can we give our panel? We have our county government clap, and I would like you to adopt it now. When I say Milpolo, you simply clap once. Milpolo, you're almost there, but you have not gotten it right.
Thank you very much. By name, I'm Joseph Yongo, Special Needs Coordinator and Disability, Homa Bay County, the Department of Education. So the session for today is a lively one, and it is very much fundamental because investing in early years is very important because that is the foundation of every successful life. My concern very quickly is on early identification. As much as we emphasize on early years programs, we should also think about early identification of learners with disability, because disability come in two ways, either congenital or acquired. We have learners who are born with disability and their life is ruined because there is no proper intervention at the onset. And therefore, in Homa Bay County, I can proudly say that we have such intervention. And I emphasize that the Lreb, the 14 counties, we should emulate that and emphasize on early identification. And
thank you, Banayongo.
Okay,
thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we are pressed of time because the main guest of the day has already arrived. He's in the compound, and some of us are required to be at the main tent where he will be addressing us. With that, Toby, just stand where you are. Our keynote speakers are also stressed of time. They are also expected to take front seat, and it is bad manners for them to go there while the guest of honor is seated. With that, allow me, ladies and gentlemen, to read to you the communique, but with your permission, I will only read action to call to action, the summary of all of it, call to action. In light of the discussions and guided by our constitutional responsibilities and shared commitment to our children's well-being, we reaffirm our commitment to allocate and safeguard adequate financial resources for early childhood development, to ensure these allocations are integrated within county budget plans, and to invest in continuous training and capacity building of county staff across all relevant departments to effectively implement and sustain nurturing care for early childhood development initiatives. We commit to institutionalizing multi-sectoral collaboration across all relevant county departments, collaborating with national government representatives and county-level partners and religious leaders to deliver coordinated and inclusive nurturing care for early childhood development services. We call for the review, development, and implementation of enabling policy frameworks that are multi-sectoral, evidence-based, context-specific, and aligned with the realities of implementation to ensure sustainability and avoid fragmentation. We commit to deepen community engagement and ownership from the household level to the village level, ward level, sub-county and county level, including both men and women, religious leaders, traditional community leaders, and grassroots actors, to enhance awareness, behavior change, and community-led monitoring of nurturing care for early childhood development programs. So we call upon the Council of Governors to actively engage the national government to amplify the nurturing care for early childhood development agenda, positioning it as national priority and a shared development target across all levels of government. To document best practices from the Lake Region Economic Bloc and create structured platform for learning and replication, facilitating scale-up across counties through inter-county dialogue, knowledge exchange forums, and national level policy influence. I therefore want to call upon the keynote address, the keynote speakers to append their signature. And may I ask our team to bring the table just in front of the chair of First Lady's post. Okay, please. Just put it there. They have accepted to come. Meanwhile, where's our cameraman? Please come and take a photo with the panelists.
Come. We are not living here if you don't take a picture of us.
Yes.
As your panelists for the day.
Thank you, panelists. You're Homa Bay. Okay. Thank you. Okay. That's great.
Now the MC can take.
Okay.
Yeah.
The first lady and the keynote speakers to join the panelists. Then for the keynote speakers, after they've done that, they can come. They can be going up. After they've done.
We are done with that. Thank you so much, team. But before you leave, allow us to gift you for your concerted effort, especially during this session, and for supporting the side event for it to be a success. Thank you so much.
The same.
So we can each hold a bag, and I would request the photojournalist to also take yet another photo with the bag.
So take our photo when he's taking.
It's already complete.
Yours, yeah. Oh, it's.
Welcome back, Belle.
Thank you. As we take photos, allow me to also pass a vote of thanks in the process because we are pressed on time. And also allow me to announce that we are still continuing this conversation in the next session in Tent 8, organized by the ECD network. But also allow me to say that we are continuing that very conversation during the SIAE Investment Conference. So we would expect all the partners who have exhibited what they're doing here today to be with us at the SIA Investment Conference, which is coming soon in September from 24th to the 27th. So you're all welcome to continue this conversation. Thank you so much, team. And then before we leave, we would like to request the CEO, Charlene Ruto, a photo session for a few of us as we let the others take their spaces, take their seats.